Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into the profound and, let's be honest, often conflicting worlds of Indian education. We're pitting the ancient pursuit of wisdom against the modern race for professional success.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. At the heart of this whole thing is one fundamental question. What is education even for? Is it just a tool to get a job and a good salary, or is it something more? A transformative journey to really understand yourself and your place in the world?
And this question isn't just some abstract philosophical thing. It gets to the very core of two powerful and really different educational philosophies that have shaped millions and millions of minds.
So the ancient Indian model wasn't about cramming facts for an exam, not at all. Its main purpose was the transformation of the individual. It was all about building character and guiding a person toward what's known as moksha, or spiritual liberation, to make them a wise, self-disciplined member of society.
Now let's flip the coin and look at the modern system. This is a whole different ballgame. It's been heavily influenced by the British colonial model and, of course, global economic pressures. Its purpose is much more direct: create a skilled workforce. The focus is on getting a job, technical skills, and stuff you can measure, like grades and degrees.
So you might be asking, how did they actually put this ancient philosophy into practice? Well, the main way they did it was through something called the Gurukul system. I want you to imagine a classroom, but not with four walls and a whiteboard. Instead, it's surrounded by nature. In a Gurukul, students actually lived with their teacher, their guru, usually out in a hermitage. This created this incredibly deep personal bond. The environment itself was a teacher, promoting peace and quiet reflection. And the cost? Get this, there was no tuition. Students paid through service or seva, which taught them humility and discipline.
And their learning process? It's so elegant. It boiled down to this simple yet super profound three-step method. First up, Shravana. You listen, really listen to the guru. Step 2, Manana. You reflect on it, you question it, you wrestle with it until you truly understand it. And finally, Nididhyasana. You assimilate that knowledge until it becomes a part of you. You don't just know it, you live it.
If you want to sum up the entire goal of ancient education in one line, this famous mantra from the Upanishads is it. The point wasn't just to become knowledgeable. It was a journey from the darkness of ignorance toward the light of inner enlightenment and truth.
All right, let's hit the fast-forward button a few thousand years and land right in the educational world that most of us are way more familiar with.
So today's classroom is all about scale and standardization, right? We've got standardized tests, schedules set in stone, and all the digital tools. But all that efficiency often has a price. By taking away that holistic focus on well-being, the system is often criticized for creating incredible academic stress. And that teacher-student relationship, it can become pretty transactional, losing that deep mentorship of the old guru-shishya bond.
Okay, this brings us to one of the biggest criticisms you always hear about traditional Indian education, this idea of rote learning. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong?
You've heard it a million times, right? The idea of mugging it up. It's often used to just dismiss these ancient methods as outdated, like students were just parrots, blindly memorizing texts without any real understanding.
But what if memorizing isn't the villain here? As researcher Anand Krishnaswamy argues, maybe the real failure is just lazy testing. Think of it like this. We make students build this massive, intricate foundation of memorized facts, but then we never actually ask them to build the beautiful temple on top of it. And this is where the whole story about rote learning gets completely flipped on its head. In the ancient traditions, memorization was never the finish line. Nope, it was the starting block. The idea was to perfectly store a whole body of knowledge in your long-term memory, which actually frees up your conscious mind for much higher level thinking. So here's the absolute key. The process was sequenced. You had to do it in order. First, you commit the rules to memory perfectly, no mistakes. Then, and only then, do you start the deep analysis, where the teacher literally pulls that knowledge out of you by asking questions. And finally, you get to synthesis, where you can generate new, original ideas from that solid foundation you built. As the scholar N.E. Showman puts it so beautifully, in this model, memory is transformed into mind. A well-stocked, perfectly recalled memory doesn't block your thinking. It becomes the very engine of your perception and your creativity. It lets you make richer connections and have deeper insights.
Okay, so what in the world does all this mean for education today?
How can we possibly blend the wisdom of the past with the undeniable tools and advantages of the present?
This table here kind of gives us a roadmap. We can take that ancient ideal of the Guru-Shishya bond and apply it by training teachers in real mentorship and emotional intelligence. We can bring back the focus on holistic development by building mindfulness and well-being programs right into the curriculum to fight student stress. Instead of rigid lessons, we can lean into experiential learning with more project-based work. And maybe most importantly, we can try to revive a respect for knowledge itself, moving beyond just chasing grades to actually nurturing a genuine love of learning.
So let's be clear, the point here is not to ditch our current system and all go back to living in hermitages. The real opportunity, the magic, is in the synthesis, in combining the moral depth and holistic focus of the past with the scientific advances and global reach of the present. That's how we could create a more balanced, more humane, and way more effective education.
Which brings us back to you. As we're all searching for the next big thing in education, the next innovation, maybe the most powerful ideas are just waiting to be rediscovered from our past. So, looking at these two worlds, what's the one ancient idea you would bring back?